to you that are really steps to becoming a millionaire or financially independent by the age of 35 or being able to retire young. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day, under one condition. The condition is that we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first means that we build wealth with our children. Black first means that we break generational curses. We do not continue them. Black first also means that we believe Black people are the best in the world at what we do. If you agree with that philosophy, if you have Black pride in your bones and you believe that we can do this together and we are going to build strong families, put a hashtag B in the number one in the chat, hashtag B1 in the chat. Hey, Jermaine, how you doing, man? Out of Camden, New Jersey. What's going on, everybody, on TikTok? My TikTok is Boyce Watkins. So if you go to TikTok, you can look for Boyce Watkins. You can find me on TikTok. Anyway, guys, I wanted to kind of ask you all about this and lay something out there for you that I really thought was worth talking about. How many of you would like to be rich one day? Give me a yes in the chat if you have a plan to be wealthy. In fact, give me a yes in the chat if you want to be wealthy at some point. Give me a yes in the chat if that's one of your main objectives, if that's one of the reasons why you're here. I mean, why else would you be listening to me other than the idea that hopefully it helps your life? I'm not here just for entertainment. Give me a yes in the chat if that's part of your plan. If you're going to be wealthy or if your children are going to be wealthy, give me a yes in the chat. Okay, now I've asked you how many of you want to be wealthy. Now, how many of you have a plan? How many of you feel like you have a good plan that's solid, that's well thought out? Give me a yes in the chat. Hey, I see Nikata and Saint and Aranda and Too Rich and Nola and Boba and all of you guys on TikTok. What's going on? James says, yes, I want to be worthy. All right. So that's important, right? You don't just want to know what you want to be and what you want to do. You've got to know how you're going to actually do it. Right? If I say, hey, I want to get to the mall at 2:00, I got to pull out my GPS, figure out where the mall is located, put the address in, and get a plan to get there, right? So what I want to do is read this article to you because I thought it was a really great article in terms of explaining how a guy was actually able to retire at the age of 35. And what I liked about his article was that it was just so common sense. It was such common sense. And the thing about it, you guys know I've been a college professor a long time. My PhD's in finance, y'all know that. And I can tell you, I taught a whole lot of business school classes and all that stuff. But this is the kind of stuff that they really don't teach in college. And that's why 90% of all college students, graduates included, never really become wealthy. At best, they end up, maybe getting a decent job with more student loans than they can handle. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to understand business. How did I end up in this spot? Well, because nobody ever taught you how to make money, because you never sat down and heard from people who actually made money. Because the people that are making money were busy making money. Your teachers, your professors, unfortunately, they didn't learn how to make money. They learned how to write books and write research papers. So they live off their paycheck, right? So the ability to make money and the sort of learning the theory behind business and money, those are two different things. So let me read some of this article to you. And as I begin, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors for this podcast, Bay Bright BVE. Bay Bright is this awesome musician that I met at the FraserNet conference. And this brother is doing some really good music. And he's also actually, from what I understand, teaching people that are in the music industry how to make money independently. And as you know, Black people have been the creators of some of the best art forms in history, but we have not been the beneficiaries. And so BayBrightBVE.com, Bay Bright is one of the sponsors. And I just want to give this brother a shout out because I met him in person. I listened to his music. Here's a song, He Can't Love You. That's really, really good. I encourage you to go check him out. We got to support the artists that believe in us. He's 100% B1, and this brother's agreed to help sponsor this particular podcast. So I want to make sure everybody knows about him and the great work he's doing. If you'd like to sponsor one of the episodes or get a shout out, just go to drboycefinance.com. That's where you can go. I'll shout out your business, shout out your platform. Okay, so let me read this article. This article, it starts off here. It says, in 2016, I retired early at 35. At the time, I had $900,000 saved, and within a few years was able to accumulate a $1 million net worth. So how many of you would like to have been able to save $900,000 by the age of 35? Can we just like clap for that? Now I don't know if I don't think he was born rich. I don't think this guy was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I know we like to excuse away people's success. Yeah, give me a yes if that's something that you like sort of really took note of and want to clap for, because I want to clap for that. I think it's a big deal. He says a big factor in my success wasn't the advice I received. It was the advice I ignored. I built wealth the old-fashioned way by working hard in a regular 9-to-5 job and making strategic financial moves that many people might disagree with. Now, this is what's interesting too. I've seen a lot of people go from rags to riches by starting a great business and selling a product. It sounds like this guy's saying, look, I didn't do those things. That kind of stood out to me a little bit when I read this article, and his statements were good enough that it made me say, gosh, I think I want to talk about this a little bit. So here's what he says. He gives 7 unpopular opinions that helped me to retire early as a millionaire. He said, number 1, company loyalty will make you poor. He says, if you're not switching jobs regularly, you're leaving money on the table. Taking a new position at a different company is one of the best ways to get a substantial raise. I switched jobs 5 times in the span of my 14-year career and got 15 to 20% raises each time. This increased my salary well beyond the rate of inflation. Employers will do whatever is in their best interest, and employees should do the same. So let me ask y'all this. Chris Brown got that song, These Hoes Ain't Loyal. And so I'm going to ask y'all, so let's not talk about hoes. Let's talk about co's, these companies, COs. Do you believe that companies are loyal to their employees? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Do you believe that corporations, note P, do you believe that corporations are loyal to the people that serve those corporations? Give me a yes or no. Are they loyal to the employees? Are they loyal to the customers? Are they loyal to the suppliers? Are they loyal to anybody? Who are they? Are they loyal to anyone? Do you think companies are loyal? No, they're not. They're not. And so I'm not saying you should be a disloyal person. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to aim for some stability in your life, but that makes sense. If you're constantly testing the market, then you're going to benefit from going out into the market, even if it means going and getting a credible job offer and then bringing that offer back to the table and laying it down on your boss's desk and saying, excuse me, I'll work for Coca-Cola. Pepsi just offered me a better position with a bigger salary. Can you match this? Right. And that is called a credible threat. That is a negotiating strategy that works also in dating relationships. If you keep telling your man you're going to leave and you don't never actually pack your bags, walk out the door, and maybe get some other guy calling the house, he may not believe you're actually going to leave. But notice how his behavior changes when he sees you done moved out and went back to your mama's house and you got dressed up to go out on a Friday night. Then suddenly he's like, baby, please, I'm sorry. I love you, girl. You so pretty. Right. So ultimately, it's a matter of posing a credible threat. In fact, you could extend this to politics. Black people don't get respect from the Democratic Party because we never actually threaten to leave the party. We always come back no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter how little they give us, we keep coming back. So they don't respect us. So ultimately, when you don't get respect, you won't get a check. So if you want to get a check, you must get respect. Respect and checks go hand in hand. So what he's saying is, don't be loyal to these companies. These codes ain't loyal. All right. Number 2, he says that another unpopular opinion is that most millionaires are self-made. He says a 2022 report from research firm Ramsey Solutions found that 74% of millennials believe millionaires inherited their money, and more than half of baby boomers think the same. But many millionaires I knew built wealth on their own, and knowing that gave me greater financial motivation. In fact, of the 10,000 millionaires that Ramsey Solutions surveyed, 79% did not receive any inheritance. Instead, most of them got rich through consistent investing, avoiding debt, and smart spending. Let's say that again. Consistent investing so your money will grow, avoiding debt so your money won't go, and smart spending so your money ain't blown. Okay, so make your money grow, don't let your money go, and don't go to the store to go blow your dough. If you don't do that, see, those are bars. Y'all give me some bars. I need some bars in the chat for that, because that was like off the dome. I'm very impressed with myself right now. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, in all seriousness though, if you want to build wealth, that's what it is. The number one factor that causes people to not be able to grow their money economically is just bad culture. If you grow up and everybody's telling you you're supposed to spend every nickel in your pocket, then you're never going to have any money because you're giving all your money away. Or if you're going deep in debt over nonsense, then you're never going to have money that way. And if you don't invest, then you're going to stay exactly where you are. Investing is how you grow. That's how you get economically tall. So I like that. I thought that was great. And it is true. The biggest myth, the biggest lie anybody ever told you is that in order to be rich, you got to be born that way. That is not true. I am a financial scientist. I study this for a living. And let me just tell you, it's habits and culture and choices. Those are the biggest factors. I'm telling you guys. It doesn't mean that being poor doesn't play a part, because poor people have a lot of problems to solve. They come with being poor. There's a trauma. There's a tragedy with it, right? But still, though, if you have the right habits, I'd rather be a poor person with great habits than a rich person with terrible habits. That's my 2 cents. Number 3, he says, this is another unpopular opinion. This is interesting. He says, your life partner can hurt your finances. He says, many of my friends got married young in their early to mid 20s. And now a big point of relationship tension for a lot of them is money related, like opposite spending habits or an unwillingness to have money conversations. I chose to wait until I found someone who shared the same financial values. And it was one of the best life decisions I have ever made. Getting on the same page about finances with a partner might not be a priority for most people, but it was for me. Today, I have a supportive spouse who is just as enthusiastic as I am about investing and living a frugal lifestyle. So did you hear that? Did you catch that part? When you're talking about something that's supposed to be important to you, you want to try to have people in your camp who can respect the things that you respect, who care about the things that you care about, who have values that are somewhat consistent with yours. And if you don't, it's hard. It's kind of like you're climbing uphill. It becomes a little bit of a battle, and it's kind of difficult. So what he's really saying is that the biggest investment that you make, one of the biggest investments you make, is who you choose to spend your life with. Okay. Do you get what I'm saying? Give me a yes in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Take a moment, please. If you could, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to give another quick Dr. Boyce shout out for another company that's helping to sponsor this podcast. You know me, I like to shout out Black-owned businesses. They help us, we help them. And this company is tropicalholistic.com. And I hope you'll check out this website. I looked at the website. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see it. So tropicalholistic.com. They have all kinds of oils and stuff like that, like healthy stuff. And it looks to me like they have, let's see, I see here pure vitamin E oil, pure rose hip oil, organic and virgin, natural hair and beard growth treatment oil. They're a small Black-owned business. I believe they said out of Buffalo. I'm going to look that up. They said our mission is to provide high-quality products that are not tested on animals and are completely safe for the environment. So this is a nice Black-owned business, and it looks like they've got their stuff together. They put together a nice site, and they're investing in themselves. So I hope that as you're spending your hard-earned Black-owned money, that you're going to go support companies like tropicalholistic.com. They are also sponsoring the podcast. So thank you very much to them for backing us up. We'll back you up too. And it looks like, and they said you can use a code Boyce15 to get 15% off. So all one word, Boyce and the number 15, all one word, you can get 15% off. And they are located in Pennsylvania. So shout out to them. Okay, so let me keep reading this article. So we're talking about the steps to becoming a millionaire by the age of 35. The next unpopular thing that he mentions is he says, another unpopular opinion is that you don't have to hustle 24/7. I said, okay, this is a guy that's wise beyond his years. I love it, because a lot of times we get this idea that in order to build wealth and in order to be financially successful, you've got to just work yourself into an early grave. And that made sense to me when I was in my 20s, maybe even in my 30s. But then I got a little older and I was like, I don't want to work until I die. I want to have a life. I don't want to be out here just looking crazy, just constantly, just working nonstop. And so it led to a reflection and an understanding. And it seems like he already gets that. So here's what he says. His perspective is this. He says, you might think that hustling will make you rich faster, but it also means having less time to take care of your body. Yes. And your relationships. Your health and your wealth and your relationships are linked. Some people spend so much time chasing wealth that they destroy their health and they destroy their relationships. So then you end up losing money from your health because you got medical bills out the, to the roof. And then also you lose your relationship. So you're spending all your money in divorce court because you didn't put time into your marriage. So he says to grow your wealth, you don't always need to be moving, producing, and working. Prioritizing things like sleep, exercise, and a proper diet gives you the opportunity to refuel for the next day. I always put my health first, and as a result, I feel happier and much more energetic, creative, and productive. Oh, let me just say this. There's a really smart guy named David Shands who has this platform. It's called Sleep is for Suckers. And I never said it to David because I like him. I really like what he does and everything else. And I get it. I felt that way when I was younger, that you should go on 3-4 hours sleep. But then I started doing the research. And what I encourage you to do, if you don't believe me, go do the research on this. A lack of sleep will kill you. Lack of sleep, lack of water, things like that, that will kill you. That literally not getting enough sleep every night literally can take 10, 15 years off your life. And so I guess if you want to live it up really good until you're 45 and then die at your desk or something when you're 50, that's fine. But I want you to understand that if you understand proper time management, how to manage your time, you can be more productive than most people and still get more sleep than everybody else. I'm a living proof of that. People ask me all the time, but like, Doc, do you ever stop working? I'm like, yeah, I stop working all the time. But when I am working, I'm just super efficient. I know how to get a lot done with very little time. I have a very efficient, time process in terms of how I get my stuff done. And then when I'm chilling, sometimes I take 2 naps a day. Today I took 2 naps because I was tired. My body said, you need another nap. I said, okay, bet, let's go lay down again. And I sleep the full night. I spend time cuddled up with my wife all night because she's gorgeous and soft and delicious, and I love being next to her. So I do that whenever I can. So ultimately, the idea that you have to work yourself into misery or to a lack of health is just something that's just not true. And I want to share that with young people because I want you to make sure that you achieve your goals while protecting your joy. You work hard and you play hard. You don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything stupid. But at the same time, set a goal. Have a passion, have an objective. And also the other thing that causes people to not be productive is that their time gets eaten up by little stupid stuff. So I found that I could get a lot done by eliminating stupid stuff. So when I'm working, I turn off my phone. I don't respond to email. I don't respond to Twitters and texts and none of that. I don't even answer calls at all, hardly at all. I text people back when I feel like I have time to do it, right? So ultimately, that time management piece is really important. And in fact, actually something I can let you guys have access to in the Black Business School that won't cost you anything is I have a life class that where time management is a big part of that. I literally lay out my time management philosophy as well as a lot of other stuff, just a lot of good content on achieving goals, and it's totally free. You also get access to our Wednesday Powernomics training that we're doing for the whole community. We're reading Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics, which is a blueprint on how Black people can have economic power all throughout the world. We're reading this book word for word every Wednesday night, and I'm going through it with you for free. It's a free class that I want everybody to join. So just go to blackkeystogreatness.com and you can join for free. Blackkeystogreatness.com. Lisa says, I love how you talk about your wife. Yeah, well, I just really think as Black men, I think it's our job to really do our best to really big up the Black women in our lives that are really doing great things. I mean, it doesn't mean everybody's perfect. It doesn't mean every woman is a princess or a queen and every man ain't a king. I mean, come on, y'all. You know the reality. But when a Black woman is a queen, I want to tell everybody about this queen. When a Black man acts like a king, I think we should honor him as a king. And so I honor my wife. I honor my mother, I honor my sister, my daughters, all that stuff. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. All right. So the next thing that he says here in this article, I'm almost done. Number 5, he says, growing up poor doesn't mean you can't build wealth. He says, I came from a very low income family. My grandfather was a pastor and barely got by financially because he wasn't good with his money. My dad adopted those same habits and spent most of his early years living paycheck to paycheck. Luckily, he recognized his father's bad habits and changed his ways later in life. He taught me the value of saving and investing and told me that credit card debt would ruin my financial stability, like it did for his dad. I learned that even without a 6-figure salary, you can still get rich. Man, this dude preaching. I don't know who he is, but I love this. I'll give you his name in a minute. But what I like about that is that he's explaining a basic principle that relates to money. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to shock you. It's going to be over a lot of people's heads. So you ready? You ready? I'm going to really just shock you with this idea. You ready? Y'all are ready to be ready to be just floored by this. If you spend less than what you make, then you will have money left over to save. But if you always spend more than what you make, then you won't have money at all. I know that's mind-blowing. I mean, that's shocking, right? That if you spend more than what you make, then you won't have money to save. Your money will go down. If you spend less than what you make, then your money will go up. So here's where I'm getting at. I would rather be a person who makes 70 grand a year who spends 60 than to be a person who makes 100 grand a year who spends 105. Do you follow me? One person is balling, but they're living in a deficit. The other person is not making as much money, but they are living in a surplus. So at the end of the day, you got to live at a surplus, man. You can't think that you can spend every penny you get and then some and expect your wealth to grow. Wealth does not work that way. If you take water out the bucket is not going to be fuller after you're done than it was before because you're taking water out of the bucket. There must be water going into the bucket. Do you follow what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you get what I'm saying. Okay, so let me keep reading this article. I'm going to keep going. Then I'm going to be done because my wife's waiting for me. Number 6, he said, this is good too. A prestigious degree does not guarantee wealth. I'm a college professor. My wife's a college professor. We can put 10 amens on this. While your degree can help you get your foot in the right door, it's what you do after you graduate that makes the real difference. He says, I didn't have a fancy degree at an Ivy League. I saved up an emergency fund and invested at least 10% of my income early on. Over the years, that helped me create a comfortable retirement lifestyle. My best advice is to look for less expensive options, perhaps paying in-state tuition at a school that has a great program in what you're interested in, then take advantage of the alumni network and job placement opportunities from there. So what he's basically saying, what he's really alluding to, and he may not even know he's doing this, is he's alluding to the student loan crisis and how that has been a huge deterrent in the ability to build wealth in this country, especially for people that look like us. Black people, half of all Black college graduates default on their student loans. So that means half of all Black college graduates thought they were doing better for their families by going to college. Many of them are going to die in debt. Well, if you die in debt, then, homeless people know how to die in debt. It doesn't take any special skill to know how to die in debt, right? So ultimately, I'm not making fun of anybody because a lot of people fail for that trick. But I'm telling you that student loan stuff, woo, buddy, that whole myth. I mean, college is not a scam. College is not a scam because I taught on college campuses. College is not a scam. College became a scam when they convinced you to spend $200,000 to get a bachelor's degree. That's when college became a scam. College was not a scam when they charge you 50 grand for that degree, 40 grand. But when they start charging you $250,000 and you're coming out with, an English literature degree or a degree in general studies, and you can't, and your income prospects are not any better than somebody who actually has a skill. I hire people all the time and I never ask them if they went to college or not because I don't care. I need to know, what is your skill? What do you know how to do? What can you do in my company that's going to help our company succeed? What do you bring to the table? And don't you dare show me a bachelor's degree and act like that's a skill. That's not a skill. That's a credential. Good for you. Congratulations. That probably means you picked up some skills. You went to some frat parties and good. But I would pick a kid who knows how to do things over a kid who went to college any day of the week. I have a guy that works for me. I'm thinking about right now. Never went to college, but he can fix anything in the house. He is a hardworking guy. He shows up on time. I pay him more than a lot of people I work with who have college degrees. Do you know why I pay him more? Is it because I like him and just want to give away my money? No, I'm a businessman. I don't do that. I pay him more because he adds more value. So when you're raising kids and you're talking to them about, how to make money and all that, if you add value, people will pay you money because at that point, your boss needs you more than you need him. I need this guy. I'm like, hey, you can't quit because I can't replace you. How much more do I have to give you? What do you want? What do you need? Hey, he had me by the balls because he brought so much skill to the table that I couldn't operate. I couldn't function without him. So I had to give him a raise. Do you understand what I'm saying? Get the damn skill. Stop worrying about the degree. And again, I'm a person who gives out the degrees. I taught at University of Kentucky and Indiana University. I know what a university can give you. It's very valuable, but it does not give you the skill to become wealthy typically. And it also does not give you the skill really to do anything unless you specifically go and get a skill. You can get more skills on the internet sometimes than you can on the college campus. It doesn't mean campuses are worthless, though. I want to make that clear. It doesn't mean I'm saying don't go to college. I want to make that clear, too. What I'm saying is that whatever you do, get a damn skill. Learn how to build some wealth. Learn how to start a business. Learn how to invest. Learn how to save. Don't do anything stupid. These are common sense values that will lead to wealth faster than simply having a bunch of credentials and a bunch of student loans. All right. So do me a favor. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Give me a yes in the chat if you're following what I'm saying. I know I talk a lot, but I had to really hammer this point home. I just really need you all to hear this. And also, by the way, I have something where you can get started with stock options. If you want to learn how to invest in stock options, there's something free. If you go to drboyceoptions.com, I have a free training there, so feel free to go to drboyceoptions.com. All right, so here's the last part. He says, this is interesting. This is another unpopular opinion. He says, his name's Steve Adcock, by the way. He says he's a finance expert who blogs about how to achieve financial independence. He's a former software developer. So he says, rich celebrities will often tell you that they achieve success by following their passions. That doesn't work for everyone. It's easier for most of us to earn a living through our strengths than through our passions. Our passions tend to be more creative, and it's usually harder to earn a high salary in a creative field. My hobby was photography, but I chose a career in software because it was what I was good at. The salary difference between those two careers is drastically different. Now, as an early retiree, I'm able to enjoy and spend more time on my passions. I agree with that point, but I want to throw in some nuance with that. Here's what I would say. I don't believe you ever win in life if you do something that you just absolutely hate. I think because number one, your life sucks. You're not happy because you're always, think about it, you're filling your life up with, like, imagine going to eat and you fill your plate up with food that makes you vomit. Like, literally, that's what it's like to spend the bulk of your time doing something you hate. Even if the money's good, it just sucks. It's not good for your mental health. You'll regret that, in my view. Now, here's the thing that I will say, though. I think that when you're talking about picking things that you enjoy, now here's how I picked my major in college. I realized that I really liked psychology and computer science, but I knew I could make the most money going into finance, right? And I like finance, but not as much as psychology, but I picked finance because I figured I could weave psychology into finance and computer science into finance, right? So what happened was I got my PhD in finance, but I did my specialty was investor psychology, and my wife is deep in psychology. So we talk about psychology all the time. Literally every single day we talk about something related to psychology. So I still get a chance to enjoy that passion. I still get to apply it to what I do, but I did pick that skill that was going to pay the bills. But that's sort of my thinking, what it was when I was 19 or 20. Here's how my thinking has evolved, and this is something you can carry away with you. If you understand the basics of how to create a business model around what you do, you can make money at damn near anything. Everything has an economy around it. Everything does. Jewelry, t-shirts, pieces of paper, microphones, podcasts, dancing, football, everything has a business model around it. And so if you are trained in how to make money, trained in entrepreneurship, trained in business development, then you can see the money. You can see the business model. The money's kind of floating around, and you could say, okay, how do I position myself where I'm doing something I'm really passionate about? Like, I'm really passionate about football, but I couldn't make it to the NFL. Well, how can I still get around football and end up in spaces where I'm talking about football and sort of being a part of the game and still making my money at the same time? I think that's very doable, right? Now, what you don't do is jump into your passion without an understanding of business models and just hope that the money will eventually come. That's true. That money doesn't always come. But the thing about it is, I believe the closer you are to your passion, the better you're going to be at what you do. I was talking to a young 19-year-old kid who was struggling in college. He's about to flunk out of school. And I said, the problem that I have with what I see with you is that you're a little bit lazy. You're not working very hard. And I think the reason you're not working hard is because you don't like what you do. You picked a major that I don't really think is a fit for you. It doesn't seem like you enjoy it. It seems like you're doing it because maybe your parents like it or whatever, but it's not something you really want to do. I said, so think about this. I said, you already have a hard enough time getting out of bed because you're a little bit lazy, but then you're making it worse because not only are you having to force yourself to get out of bed, but you're forcing yourself to get out of bed to do something that you hate. So that's the double whammy. You put in two barriers up. I said, maybe if you were forcing yourself to get out of bed to do something you loved, then you would get out of bed a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficiently, right? So I'm a big believer that you spend time, that knowledge of self is one of the most important aspects of building wealth and becoming successful. If you know yourself and you know what you're good at and then know what you enjoy, those are not always the same thing. Then if you find that overlap, I'm good at it and I love it, that's how you become a genius at something. That's how you become really good at whatever it is you do. And when you become good, and if you understand business models, like where the money resides, then you'll go make a killing doing what you love. Like so that's the idea. Understand business models, but before you understand business models, understand yourself. And then once you understand yourself and you understand business models, then you can place yourself in the space where the money resides, where you're also able to connect to your passion in a way that's going to generate economic benefits for you. Going to work does not have to be something painful. In fact, give me a yes or no. How many of y'all grew up watching your parents and your friends get up and go to work and they were not happy? Like they just hated going to work. Going to work was seen as a negative. It was seen as a burden. Give me a yes in the chat if you grew up like that. That's how I grew up. I never grew up believing that going to work was ever good. The idea of enjoying work just didn't even make, that was an oxymoron. Now I don't see it that way anymore. I think you can really enjoy your work, but I think it takes some courage. I think you have to detach from what everybody else is telling you to do. You have to detach from this false idea that money is the motive for everything, that you'll go take any stupid job just because it pays you an extra $3,000 or $4,000 a year. I think that you have to not only know who you are, but have the courage to pursue that person and that lifestyle that you believe in. And then on top of that, if you understand, the more you understand economics and the basics of financial literacy and all that, the better you're able to find a way to make a living doing what you love. So to give you a real life example and bring it home before we bounce out, my daughter told me that she wants to be a dancer and wants to go live in Paris and be a dancer. I said that's absolutely awesome. I think that's totally what you can do. I said, it's because all you really got to do is find a way to make about $4,000, $5,000 a month somehow, and I can explain all that to you through investments. And plus, you got a rich dad anyway, so we can get you some money to get you started. We're not going to take care of you for life, but we can help you get started because we've already made plans for you to have that life. But at the same time, it's not some sort of simple privileged life. It's a life where the number one goal is like, are you going to be happy? And then also, are your basic needs going to be taken care of? And the answers are yes. So that means you get a whole different life that you wouldn't have had if all you had to do was if all you could do in life was sit around and obsess over what crappy job you're going to take so you can find some way to struggle and pay the bills. That's not the life that you have to have. That life was the life that was presented to me growing up. But I'm telling you, that's not the life you have to have. And that's also not the life that you want your children to have. Liberate your damn children. Start saving and investing now so you can retire those damn kids. Put them in a situation where when they are 25 years old, they can be free, live their life, do what they love, follow their passions, and they will thank you because you paved the way, because you were doing basic things like investing $5 a day for your child. Y'all know about the $5 a day investing plan. If you don't know about it, just go to blackmoneyminute.com. I have a whole ebook on how to build wealth by investing $5 a day. I've talked about this a lot because I really want you to do it. If you do it now and your children are young, your children will be financially secure, which means they will have the ability to pursue the Holy Grail, which is more important than money. The Holy Grail is not money. It's not success. It's not power. It's happiness. If your child can get up every day and be happy, they will be ahead of 95% of the population, because a lot of these poor young people are really, really struggling. They're really, really sad. And that makes me sad to know how sad they are, because happiness is out there. You just got to be in a position to go pursue it. All right. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm done talking. I hope this conversation was helpful. Thank you all. And thank you again to Bay Bright BVE for sponsoring the podcast, as well as Tropical Holistic. Those are our two Black-owned businesses that we shouted out today. And also hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe on your way out the door. And my website, if you want to go check it out, it's boycewatkins.com. So love you guys. Have a good day. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.